What up, all you pro-gun bullies and magnum-packing patriots? This is the Tap Rack Bang Show. I'm Ryan Frasor, riding shotgun as always. With me is the tactical tackle, Tyler Witzke. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. We invite everyone viewing to go ahead and hit that like button and be sure to subscribe. Every subscribe button hit is a shove into the locker for Sleepy Joe Biden. And be sure to smash the bejesus out of that Liberty Bell and sound the alarm of freedom every time a Tap Rack Bang episode drops. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Frasor, that is a sexy looking water bottle you have on your table there. Where do you get a Tap Rack Bang water bottle? Well, you actually don't yet, but you can get a Tap Rack Bang sticker and make your very own dope-ass Tap Rack Bang water bottle, but that probably costs a lot of money, right? Wrong. How much does this sticker cost, Tyler?
$3.99.
$3.99? Don't cost shit. So click the link below, get yourself a Tap Rack Bang sticker, put it on your water bottle, put it on your gun safe, put it on your sister, do whatever you want with it. Just get down there and get it. All right.
While you're down there, visit all the other links down in the description. Help us out. But
do it.
That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. All right, which brings us to T-shirt time for this week.
It's T-shirt time.
Actually, for last week, let's go ahead and answer last week's question. We had a bit of a holiday on Monday. Last week we asked you, when did the tyrannical, draconian, evil assault weapons ban that started in 1994, we asked you, when did it expire? And the correct answer was September 13th, 2004. 17 years we've been liberated from the oppression of the assault weapons ban, and it feels good. Gun safes across the country are packed full of AR-15s and all other dope-ass shit.
Yep.
And, we hope never to go back to that evil time, the dark ages of gun rights in America.
Yep. Thank you, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, thank you, Clinton, and a bunch of other bungholes. But Brad Lidstrom was the first to comment September 13th, 2004. He commented below. He did it first. He gets a free National Association for Gun Rights t-shirt for free. You're welcome, Brad. Good job. You're a clever fella. Check out the big brain on Brad.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
All right, this week's t-shirt time question. You can be a winner like Brad and get a free t-shirt if you are the first to name 5 handguns. Correction. If you are the first to name 3 handguns, we'll make it a little bit easier than that. 3 handguns, only 3, invented by John Moses Browning. If you think you know without cheating and Googling, comment below. 3 handguns invented by John Moses Browning. First one to answer wins dope-ass t-shirt.
Do it.
Yeah, so what do we got on the show today, Tyler?
Yeah, so we're going to have Dudley Brown, president of the National Association for Gun Rights, on the show.
Yeah, our boss.
Yeah, our boss. So we got to tread lightly here.
Yep.
So.
We got to mind our manners. We got to clean our room before the boss comes in here. We're going to get in trouble.
Exactly. And we're just going to interview him, talk about what he does at the National Association for Gun Rights.
Dude's been a gun lobbyist for over 30 decades.
Yeah, 30
years plus and counting. Kicking ass and taking names, and I think he's learned some cool lessons along the way. And he's also a gun guy, so he's our people.
Exactly.
And he's your people, so stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of being joined by the president of the National Association for Gun Rights, Dudley Brown. And I've worked for Dudley for a lot of years. And let me tell you, if there's 2 things in life that give Dudley Brown pleasure, it's British Premier League soccer and domestic light lagers. However, a close third and fourth are punishing anti-gun politicians and shooting sweet guns, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome to the show.
Somehow I knew when I agreed to come on to this show that I was going to be trolled immediately. Especially
you'd be disappointed if we didn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's no Bud Light can here.
Yeah.
This sponsored by bad beer.
Sponsored by your grandpa's favorite beer.
Yeah. So we're going to ask you a couple questions, just to let the viewers know a little bit about yourself and what you do here.
We're going to play a wonderful game called Who is My Daddy and What Does He Do?
So as employees of the National Association for Gun Rights, we often get asked what makes us different than the mainstream gun lobby.
We're crazy. That's what makes us different.
Right. So obviously, as the president of the National Association for Gun Rights, there's no better person to ask than you. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I'm asked that a lot when I meet with people, whether it's, first time people who are in politics or even in an elevator, or somebody asks you what you do on an airplane, which happens a lot. And usually my response is, well, I'm the president of the National Association for Gun Rights. We do what you think the NRA does. You think that they're this tough, hard-nosed group that's going to go out there and not compromise and fight for your rights. But frankly, you bought the mainstream media's narrative, and which puts them in a corner. And nowadays, given all the corruption and allegations against the NRA, when I'm talking to a gun owner, I say, we do what you want the NRA to do.
Love it.
And no, they don't do.
Yep,
So, holding politicians accountable and standing firm on the Second Amendment and frankly, trying to advance our rights and not worry about what the mainstream media says about us. That's probably the best way to put it.
Awesome.
So.
Absolutely. And continuing on the difference between us and the other guys, I'd wager we're the only gun group that's actually led by a real shooter and a real gun guy. And I've seen you shoot a lot of times, and I know that you wouldn't need 10 shots to bring down an elephant. And maybe just tell the people watching a little about your history as a shooter and as a gun owner.
Well, I grew up in South Dakota, so rural area of western South Dakota, and grew up hunting pheasant on the way to school, literally out of back of my old Mustang. And in fact, a lot of times my car in the school parking lot would have a shotgun in the back and a couple of frozen roosters
Try
in
that
there.
in this day and age.
Yeah, try that in this day and age. And then, of course, got into actual shooting military style weapons and not just handguns, the old 1911 all the way into, and later into ARs. Funny part was I really started shooting and before I had really had much safety training. And so no real formal training, unlike a Marine, I had no real formal training until the early 90s. And when I started taking a lot of classes, and I've taken a lot of classes, and I still take classes to this day. I had a private class on long range shooting just a couple months ago from an Army sniper instructor. So yeah, I enjoy the aspect of shooting, whether I'm good at it or not. And I hate to say this, maybe this is not a family joke. Shooting's just like sex. You don't have to be good at it to have fun.
This is the right show for that joke.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I know. Yeah, only on this show, right?
So kind of building off of that, you have shot competitively in many different styles and disciplines. What's your favorite?
Well, I love shooting ARs, semi-automatic or even fully automatic weapons, and that's kind of my passion is black guns, because black guns matter, right?
Absolutely.
And so I do a lot of that, although, IDPA pistol, I'm not very good at it, but really enjoy it. And of course, it's a very perishable skill, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I actually enjoy going out with my friends. I have some friends who are fantastic shooters, and I love going out with them, not to try out new guns or something like that, but to watch them and follow behind them as they're training and working on repetitions, working on sight acquisition, quick sight acquisition, real good trigger breaks. I like shooting with good shooters because, frankly, it just makes me a better shooter. And, of course, it's all about practice. Right now, I am largely, over the last 5 years, I've largely been concentrating on precision rifle and long range. And I do that almost 3 times a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
And many weekends, I shoot local matches and hoping to shoot a lot of national matches in the coming years. So.
Cool.
If my eyes will let me.
Yeah,
Old eyes, guys. I mean, don't ever underestimate how bad your eyes can go when you get older.
Sure. Right.
And so you're always going to be fighting that. And I'm in my mid 50s, so that's a challenge. So
Yeah, you bet.
Right.
Well, pivoting to the politics side of stuff, you've been a gun lobbyist for decades now, and you've successfully helped bring down copious anti-gun politicians over the years. Maybe tell the folks watching if there's one in particular that you're especially proud of, or a cool story that comes to mind.
Yeah, and a lot of state legislative victories, not just in Colorado, where I started working the issue, but even outside of Colorado and many other states where we played a role. One particular Boss Hogg in South Carolina, literally the guy looked like Boss Hogg, wore white suits, and was terrible on the gun issue, but chomped on cigars and told you why you people don't need to have those guns.
Don't you know that a man who raises his voice gives clear evidence that he has lost complete control of himself?
Yeah.
And but the big one was then Majority Leader Eric Cantor in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia, who everybody said was untouchable, but he had played a lot of footsie with the anti-gunners. And remember, this is like post-Newtown, Connecticut tragedy when gun control was almost certainly going to pass, especially if Republicans caved at all. And Eric Cantor was caving. He was flying with Barack Obama in Air Force One.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
And talking a lot of compromise language about Second Amendment issues. And we got involved very deeply in his race. And everyone yawned, said it'll never happen. And he got beat by a nobody, and by a professor, but happened to be a pro-gun conservative who answered our survey. And to me, that guy was potentially a presidential candidate, almost certainly the next Speaker of the House.
He was being groomed.
And he was being groomed, and he took the political dirt nap. And or as another YouTube channel calls it, the asphalt temperature challenge.
Wow.
And politically, his career was over. And by losing that, and that makes me smile every time I think of that, or someone asks me about it. So that there's an accountability, especially when you live in a deep conservative district, and as a member of Congress, and you play those kind of games, you get stupid prizes, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So you've had a very different job than when you started in gun politics, representing gun owners at the state capitol that over 30 years ago. And you don't fly private jets. You don't go to Beverly Hills.
I want to,
but
He drives here in a Sequoia, not a Lamborghini.
Yeah. So you get to meet some very interesting people. Could you expand on that and
a couple name drops?
Yeah, name drops. Well, I travel to DC a lot, and of course I don't go there DC because I want to. We call it Mordor, right?
Yep.
I don't really travel there because I want to, but I need to go there and meet with people, especially a lot of new members of Congress, and there's a growing group of pro-gun members of Congress, and we do hang out with friends. I call them friends because they actually are friends. Most notably, Congressman Thomas Massey, who's the chairman of the House Second Amendment Caucus, and work with him and his office a lot, and of course in the Senate, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, Senator Mike Lee from Utah, and those are like good friends, people who we work with on a regular basis. But the odd part of my job is that the pressure as the leader of a nonprofit is to raise money. A lot of people don't get that. They don't understand how that works. To actually put pressure on politicians to truly run full, real operations to defend the Second Amendment, you need resources, and you can raise money from broad categories of the $20 and $50 donors, and to those we're very appreciative, of course. But you also have to raise money from big dollar donors, people who can afford to write, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 checks. And so I go to meet those kind of people a lot. And sometimes I go to meet donors who are pretty good-sized donors, and they're stars themselves. Hank Williams Jr. is a member.
That's awesome.
And I'm not really a country music fan per se. I know he's about ready to kick me, but
Why didn't he get that tour meeting?
Yeah. And and it wasn't even really a tour meeting. I went, he invited me to go backstage and I got to meet him and I'm standing there looking at him going, this is like country music God, right?
Yeah. Right.
And it was a bit weird. And then of course he went up on stage. And I didn't really know this. Hank gets up on stage and starts playing piano. And he said, when I was a kid, my mom said, you really don't. Little Hank doesn't know how to play piano. He's 6 years old and doesn't know how to play piano. And of course, his family in Nashville, his house was like the gathering spot of every country music star of the era. So what'd they do? They grabbed somebody to teach him. Who taught him to play piano? Jerry Lee Lewis taught Hank Williams Jr. how to play piano. I'm like looking at the guy like, I just talked to you and weird. Another one that was interesting was maybe possibly one of the weirdest days of my life. I was at a very big donor's house, mansion, and he has 4 Rio Monets on the walls of his built house. And he said, I got a friend coming over, and right in the a little bit later I said, okay, great. He's my friend's here. And he said, by the way, you call him Your Highness, not Your Majesty.
Certainly, Your Eminency.
This is the King of Spain. The King of Spain stopped by to say hello, and they were friends. And I got to chat with him, and he was a hunter, hunted big game and pheasants. And he even said, I said, well, I grew up hunting pheasants. He said, well, if you're in Spain sometime, let's go pheasant hunting together. Yeah, next time I'm in Spain, I'll just call you up, King, drop in, and Your Majesty, we'll go out hunting. So that was, that's a weird job. It's a weird world, but you run into some interesting and unique people, and some of them are rabidly in favor of our rights, and they just can't say it publicly often. Right. So a lot of movie stars are that way. Yep. So.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, maybe down the road we get Spanish gun rights going, and
Spanish gun rights.
We'll have the King of Spain on board with us.
Sugar.
Yeah. All right. Pivoting back to guns. All right. So your house is burning down. You got time to save one gun from your pile. What do you grab? Why?
I have a side-by-side Savage Fox shotgun that has been in my family since I don't know what year it was made. I still don't know. It was my grandfather gave it to me. He was blind. He lost his sight in the late 40s, but he had given it to me when I was a kid. It's what I really started hunting with. Mm-hmm. I would be hard pressed to replace. You can't replace that.
Exactly.
I can replace
family heirlooms are priceless.
I can replace a lot of guns, but that's the one you can't. And I have some go-to guns. I think the go-to gun that we've featured on some videos, which is a piston AR, all decked out, and a few items that I train on a lot. That's probably my second.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Right on.
Sweet.
Definitely cool choices.
All right. Final question. Going inside your waistband, what do you got?
I really, the concept that you two would go inside my waistband makes me
time to whip it out.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, do you want to try? Well, it's here on our desk here. It's kind of an interesting. I'm an old 1911 guy, of course. I know you're going to make the jokes.
FUD.
FUD.
This is about as far from a FUD gun as you can get, though.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Well, and a number of years ago, I started shooting the striker-fired guns. Of course, I've always had lots of friends with Glocks, and I've owned a couple Glocks, but never really carried them. And then made friends with the guys at Grey Ghost Precision, a company that basically makes a knockoff Glock. Ghetto Glock? I don't know. Yeah. But it's not really ghetto because it's really well done. Yeah. And then, of course, I've never really had a carry gun with a red dot on it. And if you've ever shot red dots on pistols,
takes a lot of practice.
Yeah,
it takes some practice.
It's definitely the future.
Yeah. It's quick, and red dots are starting to be very reliable.
Yep.
And then when will you really need A handgun, it's probably dark.
Absolutely.
And so, in my view, you're going to carry a gun. You probably want to carry one with the light on it. Now, when you ask me what gun you carry, I mean, which gun do I?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about. I mean, because 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Exactly.
And so I almost always carry an ankle holster with a revolver in it, a 327 mag. Tabbed hammer revolver, and like that as a backup gun. It's at least relatively light, still with some punch. Sadly, I have lots of friends who make fun of me that I actually am carrying a 9mm as my main gun, and mostly because I made fun of 9mm for so very long because I'm a 45 guy.
Yep.
Yeah, but this pistol is Grey Ghost makes is basically a Glock 19 copy, and I also carry a Glock 19 at times too. So, but what's a handgun for? To fight your way back to your assault rifle.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get in a handgun fight. I want to get in a rifle fight. If that's what I'm going to be fighting with, somebody really wants to fight, I want to be with a battle rifle or a shotgun in my hands.
You bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, outstanding. That's all we got for you today, Dudley. We appreciate you coming on the show and talking to our viewers. Hope to have you back on
You
soon.
trolled me once. That's
Just
it.
once. That's
just
it.
once.
We won't call you Dudley Brown today. I promise. We're leaving it there, and we're cutting tape right now. All right, folks, that does it for this week's show. Special thanks to our boss, Dudley Brown, for joining us today. We had a nice little chat. We trolled him a little bit, so I hope my paycheck continues to come in. A little nervous about that one, but we had a good time.
Yeah, I think he was overall he wasn't too
He's a
offended.
good sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that concludes our episode. Don't forget to hit all the links down in the description. Again, you can get your free sticker. It costs you nothing.
Nothing.
And visit all the other links. You can become a Frontline defender for the Second Amendment. You can also help out with our foundation that helps with legal battles.
Suing the pants off of gun grabbers.
Exactly. And don't forget to smash that Liberty bell. Hit like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
Everything.
Remember, every subscribe shoves Joe Biden into his locker.
Exactly. Thank you.
See ya.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll sneak